It's the new year. A lot of airlines are starting to back hire flight attendants, and people are getting their CJOs and trainings are starting to ramp up. This video here is just to give some tips about how to get through training, how to deal with some of the things that training brings along. Now, this by no way, form, or fashion is saying that if you do these tips, this will help you get through training or you'll pass training. Basically, these are my opinions based off my time as a flight attendant and other stories that I have heard that can help you get through training and deal with the things that come along with training. So without further ado, let's get right into this video. Tip number one, have a routine. And what I mean by have a routine is that you're in training all day long. So when you come back to your room or wherever they have you put up for training, you need to have some type of routine once you get out of training, whether it is going to the gym, calling family or friends, speaking to loved ones, or whomever it may be. Just have some type of routine so you can just de-stress from all the information that you just collected, because in training, you're going to be given a lot of information all at one time, and it can be overwhelming and it can be stressful at times, especially if this is something new to you and you've never been a flight attendant ever before. So I would suggest just to have a routine to de-stress before you jump right back into studying to get ready for the next day. Tip two, go out on your off days. And this can kind of tie into having a routine. What I mean by going out on your off days, for my company in particular, we had the weekends off. So what you want to do is just go out to do something in whatever city that it is that you're in, just to get outside of the hotel or the training facility and not just be confined to the training facility. So it can seem like you have some sort of life outside of just going to training. Now, you know, some people, you might choose to go to a lounge or a club, and that's okay too, but don't just overdo it to where it affects you in training. So another tip would just to be, try to get outside of the hotel, find something in the city to do, and, you know, just Google something to do in the city and just try to do it on your off days, which for most airlines, at least mine, was the weekend. Tip number three, avoid drama. What I mean by avoid drama, just avoid drama. Like, don't try to sleep with everybody in your training class, because that can cause drama in itself. Even if it's something as a disagreement, just agree to disagree versus, you know, keep arguing or going back and forth with the person and it escalate to something bigger, because in the end, it could end up costing you and that person to be dismissed from training. Not saying that'll happen all the time, but just try to avoid the drama. Just basically, like, if you don't get along with whomever it is that you're rooming with, try to see if there's something that you can do with your at your training facility to try to swap rooms, or just try to make the best of the situation and just kind of avoid the drama at all costs. Like, just agree to disagree, put your pride to the side, smile, and just, you know, continue to study or do other things to get outside of the room. That way you're not spending as much time around the person that you don't get along with. And that's just another tip that I would say, avoid drama, because I've heard so many different stories that it all could have been avoided if they just would have avoided drama, put their pride to the side, and just smiled and walked away. So you don't want to get dismissed from training over something that could be avoided. So try to avoid drama at all costs. Tip number four, don't get sent home. And I know this kind of can tie into avoid drama, but what I mean by don't get sent home, meaning if it's something that's controllable, that you can control, and it is against a company policy, don't get sent home for something that you can control. So if your company has a no drinking policy between certain hours, don't drink. That's a company policy that can automatically get you sent home. A lot of things, for not studying, and if you fail so many tests, you can get sent home. If you're just acting a fool in the hotel, which is kind of, you know, people don't think that the hotel staff, they know who you are. They know that you're here for airline, you know, training. So anything that you do that is basically, if they would put a normal guest out for, best believe they're going to go back to the training facility and say, a training manager or whomever it is that they call, and say, hey, this person is just really acting a fool here, and you can get sent home from training for that. It's just a number of things that you can get sent home. Everybody there for a particular reason. That's to get their wings so that they can fly on the line. And that's what should your goal be and your main focus be, is just to be able to pass training, not get sent home, get those wings so you can be able to get on the line and fly. Tip number 6, don't overthink training. And what I mean by don't overthink training is, I did it to myself. I thought training was going to be much, much harder than what it was. So I gave myself anxiety thinking like, how am I going to remember all these things and all this stuff? And not to say training was a piece of cake. It's not. What I'm saying is I overthought it to where I made it harder than what it is before I even started. Before I even sat down in the classroom, I was overthinking like how I got the study guide and I was like, man, how am I going to remember all these things? So don't overthink it even before you sit down into a classroom. And even if you get to the classroom and you still think it's hard, do not overthink it, because you can overthink things and you can start self-sabotaging yourself. So don't overthink training. Just look at it as it's easier than what you really think it is, because like I said, I've been in your situation. Like I made myself overthink it before I even sat down in a training class, and I was just like overwhelming myself with it, thinking it was going to be hard. And when I sat down in the training class and after I took that first test, I was like, man, this is a piece of cake for me. So don't overthink training. It could be harder. You can make it harder than what it really is. Tip number 7, take care of yourself. What I mean by take care of yourself mentally and physically while you're in training. If you feel like you're being overwhelmed and you feel like the walls are closing in, talk to people in the training department and see if there's something that they can do for you. Take a break, do whatever it is that you need to do to protect your mental health, and do whatever it is you need to do to take care of yourself physically, because in the end, you're gonna have to take care of yourself physically, because in some places, they don't feed you at training. You're basically left on your own for dinner. So you have to find something to eat, or if you have enough money to find something to eat, or go to the grocery store or something like that. I've heard so many stories of people bringing George Foreman grills, skillets, and they were going to the grocery store and they will have meals. Their roommate or a group of them chipped in, went to the grocery store, and basically every night they cooked dinner because they all chipped in. And that could go back to saying of looking after your classmates. It's just you look after each other. Everybody is in training for the same exact thing. Everybody wants to get their wings. But if you don't talk to anybody and nobody knows that you're having an issue, they can't do anything. So I would say take care of yourself. Do whatever it is that you need to do to take care of yourself. If you having issues, talk to somebody. Don't just kind of like put it off and don't say anything because you're embarrassed, because in the end, nobody can help you if it could be, if you could be helped. You probably can get I don't know how to say it, but in the Army, it would be like a dishonorable discharge. You can be honorably discharged from training to take care of yourself and still be invited back to training, but you will have to start back over if that's a possibility, if you're having some type of issue. Because when you're in training, most of the times, if it's for regional, it's between 4 to 6 weeks. You're going to be away from loved ones. You're going to be away from your family that you were used to seeing every day. You're not going to be able to see them for 4 to 6 weeks. That can be taxing on someone. So take care of yourself as much as possible. If you need help, say something, because nobody can help you if you don't. Those are my tips for training. I just wanted to get on, make that video for all the people who recently received CJOs and are starting training soon. I know for my company, some of the classes have started a few weeks, have been in training for a couple of weeks. And I've seen on websites and Facebook groups that people are going to training soon. So hopefully you're watching this video and it helps you out. I want to thank you all for watching. If you're new here, please make sure you subscribe. To all my returning subscribers, I do appreciate the support. We are growing. Until next time, I'm Traveling Gun. Y'all have a great day.